Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Now, today's we will discuss regarding the features of object-oriented programming language. Now, last class we have discussed something about procedure-oriented programming, and we have discussed the drawback of procedure-oriented programming. Clear? Now, to overcome those drawbacks of procedure-oriented programming, now finally we come across to the concept of object-oriented programming. But which language can be known as object-oriented programming language? There must be some features or extra features should be there which will enable the language as or which will be declared the language as a object-oriented programming language. Okay. So the first feature is all about your data abstraction. Clear? So what do you mean by data abstraction? We should also understand. Okay. Now I can say now all of you know how to use VLC media player. Yes or no? So the VLC media player, what actually you need to do? You will double click on that. Your file needs to be play. Okay. Now the concept behind the how whenever you are double clicking on the file, how that file is moving as a function argument to for the execution, and then you are getting the output. The internal details you don't know. Okay. Now also I can give one more example. You are riding a scooty or bike, whatever. Now what is your objective? You should switch on and then the bike should move or the scooter should move, but how internally the motor is running, how the electricity is flowing, all those things are not required for the user. Okay. So those features whatever is your requirement, that is given to you, and whatever the internal details are there, that will be hidden to the outside world, because that is not required for the user. Okay. Now one more example also you can visualize. Suppose you are accessing to any website or WhatsApp also you are using. Okay. So whenever you are using WhatsApp, are sending a message to someone, you are making video call, you are putting status over there. So that is your requirement and you are doing. But whenever you are uploading something as your status, now how that will be treated as an argument to the function, that is not required for you, and that is also not known to you. Why? Because those features are not given to the user. Okay. So that is what all about my data abstraction. So I am hiding something to from the user. So similarly in object oriented programming language, whenever I'll write something or I'll design some application, so there I'll decide whether which features are required to the user, which features are not required to the user. Any features which are not required to the user, I'll hide. And I'll hide, so I'll achieve what? The data hiding concept. Okay. So by hiding that, what actually I'm getting a lot of advantages. Okay. So we'll see also data hiding in the sense I suppose whenever you are checking your canteen dues or any kind of dues, that means you are given some access in the website. Okay. But whenever you need to access the salary statement of a particular faculty, or what is the total collection for a particular day of the college or institute, that if you want also, that is not given to you. Maybe the option will be there, whenever you are clicking it is not allowed. So that is what about your data abstraction. Okay. So which features will be given to the user, which features will be hidden to the user, that will be decided by data abstraction mechanism. Okay. Now while writing program also I'll show you how data abstraction concept will be achieved. Okay. Now the second category is all about your encapsulation. Yeah. Encapsulation is the second feature of object-oriented programming language, where I can see the varieties of features inside a single block. Like let's have a real-time example. We are having a different kind of capsule. Okay, plastic capsule, where multiple circles will be there of different colors. Maybe some are red, maybe some are blue. Okay. So do you think that all these different color things are of same feature? No. These red colors are having some different composition, different feature. This blue color will have some different features. So similarly, whenever you will write any program in object oriented programming language, so we'll write something inside a block with some different features. The features can be variables, the features can be methods or functions. So all together, the data members and methods will be present within a single block known as your encapsulation. Clear? Okay, so what actually encapsulation says? Encapsulation says that it is a combination of, or it is a collection of different types of variables as well as methods inside the single body. So that is known as your encapsulation. Okay, so all those variables are of different types, their features are different. All those methods I am writing or functions I am writing, they are also of different types. So those things I can group inside a single body. Like suppose student, I'll take the example of student. So student name, age, roll number, registration number, all variables I'll declare inside the student. Okay, so all those features are also different. Name different, age different, roll number different, mark different. But whenever I'll take some input function, that means I want to take the input of all these variables. Suppose I'll use a show function. I want to display all the so the work of input method and show methods are different. So, but variables methods are grouped together in a single block is known as your encapsulation. Clear? Okay. So whenever I am keeping inside a single block, I'm telling, when like structure in C programming, whatever the data members will declare here, we can access only through the structure variable. Similarly, object-oriented programming language, we will read the concept of class. So inside the class, whenever we'll keep variables and functions, that will be only visible to the members of the class. That will be not be visible to the outside world. So again, by using encapsulation, we are achieving data hiding. Clear? So through data abstraction also you can achieve data hiding. Through encapsulation also you can achieve data hiding. Clear? Okay. Now the coming to the third concept, that is your inheritance. Now in inheritance means what? See, most of the people say I am looking like my father. That means what? My father is having some properties. All those properties are by default coming to me. Okay, so that is, you can say, hereditary property. So automatically that is coming to me. Or my father is having some property, or like suppose any amount as, or house, whatever the features are there with my father, all those are by default mine. So I can say I am getting all the property of my father within myself. Clear? So this is one example of inheritance. Nobody says that my father looks like me. No, that is the reverse concept. But everyone says that I am looking like my father. And in many family, I have seen that suppose any disease. So the people say that, so it's a hereditary disease. Hereditary disease means what? Now already somebody is suffering in their family, and then the next level of generation are also getting that particular disease. So all are coming by default. Okay. So similarly, now if you relate the concept of inheritance in your programming language, now you can say I am keeping all the student details. Clear? All the student details in the sense name, age, roll number, everything, all details I am keeping. Okay. And I have written the program in details to define a student. Clear? Now whenever I will manage, or I'll write the program for library management system. So there also I need to write down the code for student, but student, for detailed thing of the student already I have written. So what is the need of writing once again? So what I'll do, I'll use that particular code inside the new code. So when I'll deal with the library management system, I'll write down the code for everyone. But whenever student details are required, I'll not write the code once again. What I'll do, I'll reuse the code which is already being written. Clear? So this is what the properties of inheritance. If some code are already written, no need to write it again and again. Whenever it is required in your new program, you can just reuse that particular code. So there the advantage of code reusability will come. Okay, so there the number of lines of code will be less, again the number of efforts will be less. So the amount of effort you are putting to write down the code again and again, you have to put some more, less effort. So the same code you are reusing again and again. I can say also, you can recall relate the example like elder brothers and sister, whatever the books they are using. Okay, they are purchasing the same new book. whenever we will come to their standard, clear, those books can be reused again. I'll not buy the books again and again. I'm talking about normal family, not the royal family. So the same books can be reused by me. So automatically those properties are coming to me. Okay, so this I can say as a inheritance. Okay, so in daily life we are using the concept of object oriented programming language. Okay, now coming to the next one, polymorphism. Okay, so for inheritance I can say, to achieve code reusability, the existing properties are being used in the new property. So that is your inheritance. For the timing, roughly if I'll say, this is what all about your inheritance. Clear? Now coming for polymorphism. Polymorphism, if I'll divide the word, this poly means many and morphism means different forms. Clear? Now you take the example of yourself. Okay, now you currently is a student. Okay, after this class you can be daughter or son at your home. Suppose in the leisure time you are chatting with your friends, so you'll become a friend. Okay, suppose you are giving some online coaching kind of thing, then you'll become a teacher. Then you can be a brother or a sister. Okay, now see, different properties are there, different features. Okay, or different forms are there, but how many people? Only you. So you are the one who is behaving like differently at different instant of time. Okay, so you are the one who is behaving differently at different instant of time, is known as polymorphism. But at a time you can behave like one. Now you can behave like a student, you cannot behave like others. But whenever you are behaving like a friend, you cannot be a student. So at a time or at a particular instant of time, you can behave like a single person, but you can behave like multiple personality at different instant of time. So similarly, in object oriented programming language, one thing, I'm using the word thing because we have not discussed class and object. So one thing can behave differently at different instant of time is known as your polymorphism. Clear? So this is what achieving many forms. So one single thing can provide you many different kinds of forms. Okay, so the multiple features like data abstraction, encapsulation, inheritance, polymorphism, all these properties, whenever any language is supporting, is called as a object oriented programming language. Okay, so just within a brief, data abstraction means you are achieving data hiding. That means the essential details. Okay, the essential details are hidden to the outside world. Okay, encapsulation, the grouping of data member and functions together in a single block to achieve again data hiding is known as your encapsulation. Inheritance, the existing properties are being used by other classes or other things inside the same program is known as your inheritance. Polymorphism, one single object will behave differently at different instant of time is known as your polymorphism. Clear? So in object oriented programming, what you are doing actually, now a single object. Clear? I have told you that if the Java class is the entire one, you are one of the object. Clear? So whenever I am telling you are an object, means you will have some name, you will have some attribute, you will have some behavior. Clear? Same thing, suppose roll number 1 is also an object. So name, attribute and behavior. Clear? So all your data, everything is only applicable to you, only available to you. Okay, it is not available globally like in procedure oriented programming. Okay, and whenever you need any communication, you need your, everyone needs the permission for the communication. Okay, so how these communications will be made, that we'll see through the example. Okay, so an object oriented programming consists of many well encapsulated All of we can understand this word well. Encapsulated objects interacting with each other by sending messages. Globally, you cannot accept or use any data member, but every object is having their own name, own attribute, own behavior within themselves. And whenever the communication is required, they need to pass messages. How they will pass messages? That will be through by calling the functions again. Okay. Now, here we can find the difference between object-oriented programming language and procedure-oriented programming language. Done. So you need to understand that the programs are divided into number of objects. Like in the previous slide, we have seen that everything is here one object. Clear, and the objects will interact among themselves. But in procedure-oriented programming, whenever you are designing something, they are divided into number of functions, and all are accessing to the global variables as well. Clear. Here you have written the programs by using C language, which is a top-down approach. First you are writing the main function, then you are calling the other functions, and then it's a top-down. First main, and then you are calling some function which is outside the main function and will be executed. Top-down. In bottom-up approach, you are defining everything. Then finally you are writing the main function, and from that you are calling here or you are accessing. So it's a bottom-up approach. First you need to define your requirement, and then whenever it is required inside the main function in the sequence, you will access everything. Okay. So in procedure oriented programming, inheritance is not allowed. You have to write down the same code repeatedly wherever it is required. But in object oriented programming language, due to inheritance, you have to write less number of code by using the property of code reusability. Okay. It doesn't use any access specifier. We'll discuss this in future class. What is that access specifier is all about? In structure, whenever you are defining any data, all those data can be accessed outside the structure by using the structure variable. Clear? But here in object oriented programming language, if you are defining something or data inside a single block of code, those data cannot be accessed freely outside that particular block. Okay, you need to provide permission. Okay, like I have told you that as a student, whenever you are accessing your dues and there is an option faculty salary, you are clicking on that, you are not getting any enough information. Why? Because the access permission is not given. But if it can be written in procedure oriented programming language, you could have accessed that one, because no access specifier is there, everything is public over there. But here in object oriented programming language, it is by default in the private format. Okay. Next is data hiding is not here. As you have told, data hiding is not here. You can access to any data, but encapsulation is used here for the data hiding. Okay. In procedure oriented programming, your header file has include stdio.h. All those things are must. This is required. But in object oriented programming language, header file is not required. Okay. In procedure oriented programming, most of the functions uses global data. The drawback of procedure oriented programming that we have discussed, that anyone can access your data and will be affected. So they will share the data among themselves and it will be freely available to every function. But in object oriented programming language, it has been given highest priority to the data itself. So data cannot move freely from one function to another. If it is required, you need to provide the access permission. So then only if it is public, you can access. If it is private, you cannot access. So the data never move freely. Okay. In procedure oriented programming, overloading concept is not possible. This is known as your otherwise polymorphism. Okay, so this overloading is kind of polymorphism. So this polymorphism concept is available in object oriented programming language. So overloading concept is also possible in object oriented programming language only. Okay.